Good morning. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here for day 41 of Coffee and MTG, the morning talk show. You got questions, I've got answers. You need some clarity in your MTG world. Well, that is what I am here for. If you've got deck lists, please submit them, share them. Let's talk about it, see how we can turn it into a competitive deck in today's metagame. From wherever you are, whether you're from North America, Europe, Asia, no matter where you are all over the world, good morning. If it's morning, afternoon, evening, it's all good. So thank you very much for joining me today, and let's have some great discussion. Kyoka, I'm late. My God, I'm like late every single day. Kyoka 620. Like, when is there a day that I'm not late? So good morning, Ancorian Hero. Maybe I can edit the stream information from here because we're always on the talk shows by default. Don't like that. We are a submit deck lists, ask questions. Let's talk Magic. Beautiful. As we wait for this day to start, it's wonderful. Yeah, good morning, Monster CC. Good morning, JK Tor Borg. It rained today, so I get to join landscaping usually, so I'm pumped. Oh, see, you're off. You're luckily off work today. Thank you for joining us, Borg. Morning, Fish Fam. Morning to Cleverboy 31. Kyoka says, I'm going to push the top 1,200 this month on Arena. Wish me luck, Nikachu and Fish Fam. Oh, good luck. Top 1,200 is amazing. Even I haven't done anything like that, but I've also haven't taken the grinding to MTG Arena seriously. And now that I'm playing a nice balance of both, well, I wouldn't say it's a good balance of Magic the Gathering Online and MTG Arena, I realized, I think I'd like to be focused. So I think from now on, when I play Magic the Gathering Online, we're just going to binge Magic the Gathering Online for a few weeks. And then when we play MTG Arena, we're going to play MTG Arena for like a few weeks. So I'm not wish-washing between the two and watering myself down. And don't forget that if you want to be part of the show, if you're watching on the replay, you can join us here at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. We do this Mondays to Fridays, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you very much, everyone who wants to join the show, become part of the discussion. Pessimist Scientist already found the salute emote. The new emotes have arrived. I think that's as many. No, I can have a few more at the higher tiers, but I don't know what to put in the higher tiers yet. So for the default tiers, they're wonderful. We got the new salute is not impressed, is not amused. Salute is not amused emote. Good morning, Rays727. Good morning, Costa98. Nikachu MTG, I follow your channel, but it didn't notify me nor show me that you were up. Just knew your schedule from YouTube. Exactly. Follow the schedule. Screw the notifications. They won't do anything. They don't do anything on Twitch. They don't do anything on YouTube. They're very bad at this. They only get sent out to I don't know, so many people. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. So don't listen to the notifications. Just show up on time. I'll be there. I might be 1 to 2 minutes late, but I've always been to every single Nikachu. I've always been to every coffee in MTG. Yes. Good luck coming from Nick. Move up those arena rankings. Remember, if you have any questions, leave 3 question marks before and after the question, or you can @ me at NikachuMTG. That is fine. Just help me find your questions within all the comments. Submit deck lists. We review deck lists on this channel. Go for it. Let's have some fun. I've received deck lists on almost everything. So it's all good. I can, even though I'm not a master of all the other archetypes, I can usually fish out some improvements in some decks, whether it be you can improve the mana base, you're free rolling on some cards, some lands that you don't know about. Do you need more win conditions for your deck? Do you have the proper interaction? Stuff like that. I have at least know the history of all the other archetypes, even if I haven't played them, and their strengths and weaknesses. Good morning, Shock Onion. I am miserably procrastinating my homework. It all starts somewhere. You start with one question, and hopefully after you finish that question, you get the ball rolling. The hardest part is starting. If I'm procrastinating, the hardest part is starting. Once I get it starting, then I'm moving. And then I'm always wondering, why couldn't I have done this like a few days ago? Why didn't I do this like, because I start running at some point, even though I get the ball rolling, I always run out of time, and then I have to like really scrap something together because of the procrastination. I understand the procrastination world. It's not pleasant. You got to start. You just got to force yourself to start. Grinding Mythic is hard. It's all tier 1 decks after tier 1 deck. It's the life of competitive Magic. What can I tell you? You have to be prepared for the tier 1 decks. That is what I design my decks for. I don't design my decks to beat the crap decks. I design my deck to beat the good decks, always. Pretty common question I get from people is, Nikachu, can I play this card? I think it would be really good doing this. And then I always ask them, how is that going to beat the good decks? And then I label, okay, here's the top 10 best decks. How are you helping yourself against any of these things? And but they just want to play the interaction. It's like good against bad decks, but then that becomes a win more card. You have to be prepared for the tier 1 decks. When you construct your deck, when you build your sideboard, be prepared for the tier 1 decks if you want to win at Magic the Gathering. Flexing the salute is not amused emotes. So you can like do that whenever, like, I don't know, maybe that's like a good emote when I punt. Maybe this is a good emote when someone plays Ensnaring Bridge or some stupid combo or something. Maybe that's, I don't know. The community can decide when's the right moment for the salute emote. Raise 727. I took a hiatus from Modern for a bit, about 6 months, and coming back looking to play Rug Snow Control. This is what I put together. Would love some feedback with sideboard and current meta. If the deck is a little too slow, removal slots, etc. Thank you. So when I think, all right, so let's go check out the deck list. But when I think of Rug Snow Control, I'm really thinking Urza, because Urza is like the best, basically like the best deck for that sort of thing. Get out of here. All right, Breeding Pool, fine. Ketria Triome, that's a clunky land. I think if you're playing okay, so right out of the bat, I don't think this is necessary. If you're playing a snow deck and you're playing Arkham's Astrolabe, your mana is so good that you don't need this thing. This is going to be way more clunky than you would like it to be, because it enters the battlefield tapped, and especially in Modern. And I will admit, Modern is slowed down a lot. Modern is pretty slow right now. Snow Control slowed it down. Eldrazi Tron slowed it down. We're not in any rush. But still, even the dual lands of these did not even see play. The fetchable dual lands, because it comes into play tapped. Even the cycling is cheaper, but it comes into play tapped. It's not worth it. I think your mana base is going to be perfectly fine with Arkham's Astrolabe and a good, like a regular amount of, fetch lands, Scalding Tarn. Maybe you're missing some fetch lands. I'm not sure, but I think if you just copy, I don't know, like the mana base from, what's it called? Team or Urza, it should be good. So if we look, you're playing a Snow Control deck without Urza. Okay, that's fine. Sure, no problem. So how are we going to... Oh, no. Yeah, okay, these are the creatures. Yadaro Wandering Monster. Big Turtle. So 7 mana, but cycles. Whenever you cycle Yadaro, shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you cycled a card named Yadaro Wandering Monster 4 more times this game, put it onto the battlefield from your graveyard. I'm guessing this is your win condition if you cycle it enough times. Like, it's cheap, and it's a very big creature. Now, how often you get to do this, I don't know, but... and honestly, I can't tell because I've never played with this card before. So, but I'll give you this. You've got a win condition. You've got a win condition. You're playing Vendilion Click, Brazen Borrower, Snapcaster Mage. Are you playing enough Snapcaster Mages? I mean, maybe you're tight on resources because you need 4 of these Yadarus if you're going to turn this into your win condition. But Snapcaster Mage is still a really good card, and you have, I think you have enough instants and sorceries for this. But whatever. Okay, I'm not gonna be caught up on that thing. Oh, another thing about the Ketria Triome is it's not a snowland, but I'm guessing you need like another breeding pool probably in this list anyway. Anyway, I'd be concerned about this land. I would just be concerned. And I don't think I'm nitpicking. Like, I don't think... Is any other snow deck playing a Triome? Just out of curiosity from the chat. Is any other snow deck out there, or any control deck, period, playing Triomes? Because I don't think so. But I could be wrong. Like, maybe some lists play one or something, and I just never saw it or anything like that. Okay, Lightning Bolt, beautiful. Scred deals damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents you control. Sure, it can kill large things. What I like about Scred is that you can kill things like Thought-Knot Seer, you can kill Reality Smasher, you can even kill an Uro. So you know what? Scred is pretty cool. I like the card. Spell Snare, yeah, it's like it's sort of a how do I put it? It's a good card. It's a good card. You know, against no control, you're still countering Snapcaster Mage, Icefang Quaddle. No problem. Okay, Blitz of Thunder Raptor. Deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. That is interesting. Hopefully this works out very well. The exile clause is very useful in today's modern metagame. If you kill an Uro with this, it's gone, and you don't have to deal with it ever again. So, and you also, no matter what whatever you kill, it gets exiled. It doesn't fill your opponent's graveyard. So Siege Sensei says they've seen a few goldfish running a single Triumph. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on it. And then we got Frantic Inventory, which is like the accumulated knowledge, but only counts the cards in your graveyard. Mana Leak, Archmage's Charm, Force of Negation. So this deck is very, very similar. Hold on, we gotta justify the green here. Do we have a justification for the green? All right, we have a justification for the green. I'm looking in the main deck. There's not a lot of green cards here. There's just Icefang Quaddle, so we're like really low. We're like really low on the green cards, but then we see the light. All right, we have 2 Veil of Summers in the sideboard. Very strong, powerful card. Same thing with Wrenn and 6 and Clothis. I don't have any strong feedback, except that this looks a very similar... I know Blue Moon is doing okay today. Like, Blue Moon is doing okay. And if we look at Tiamu's list... let's find Tiamu. Oh, I did not spell his name right. Is it double M? No, I think it's double U. There we go. Oh, it's triple U. Can't have enough U's in your name. So you got first place not too long ago. Let's analyze his list, see what things he thinks is important in today's modern metagame. Because this has the closest similarity to your archetype, and certainly you can borrow ideas from other archetypes, but I would definitely look here. So we've got, what's it called? He's running Narset, something you could run. Lightning Bolt, Op, Serum Visions, Remand. Not necessary. I'm not in love with Remand, but Remand is good with Thing in the Ice, so that's fine. Very low on Electrolyze, fine on Force Negation, Cryptic Command. So here's a question. We've got no Cryptic Command in this deck, which is important. Like, that's a pretty powerful interaction that we have with Mystical Sanctuary. And also another thing, why no Uro? Or is this like a budget thing? Because, yeah, you could play Yadaro, but why not just play Uro? Uro is just really strong and is like the backbone to, like, you know, it's being thrown in Urza, it's being thrown in Sultai Snow, it's being thrown into Bant Snow. Like, a lot of the reasons that these decks are splashing green is because of Uro. You gotta sell me that Uro is better than this card. Because this is your win condition, but Uro is also a win condition, and it gains you life. It does everything a control deck would want to, and if you're going out of the way to play green, like Icefang Quaddle's great, but like Uro is like super OP. So I would think, what am I looking to do in here? Squeeze in 2 Cryptic Commands, because this is just like a control deck staple. And if this is not... Okay, how about this? If this card isn't good enough, because this is very hard to turn on, just replace it with Uro. And I think the deck would be fine. Like I have nothing. I have nothing against. I have nothing against cards like Scred and stuff like that. But if this win condition is not enough, I would go in the direction of Uro because you're already going green blue anyway. If you're already in green, I would take. I would certainly take advantage of that. And you know, like Uro. I mean, Uro is good against everything. You gain life. It's a 6/6 creature. Nothing outclasses it. Like not even like in Eldrazi Tron. The only thing that the only thing that matches it is another Uro on the other side of the table. So I would definitely go in that direction. But I think everything else is okay. I think everything else is okay. Anyway, yeah. The Christmas gift points out, cut green, either cut the green or add the Uro. But I understand what they're trying. I understand what they're trying to do. But anyway, that may a nice question. I'd love to ask everyone: is there any budget constraints? Is the deck built with an unlimited budget in mind? Because I would definitely play Uro in this deck. It's like the win condition right now in Modern. It's like the way to win, and you can play it. You're playing the colors for it, so why not go for it? Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the deck list. Nice list, and I would love to see how cards like what's it called? I mean, there's one thing we could discuss actually. Uro might be a non-bow with frantic inventory. Might. It could be a non-bow. It's possible. But even then, you can like sculpt your graveyard around the frantic invention. Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the deck list. So, all right. So, if you're just joining us, welcome to Coffee and MTG, the morning MTG talk show. You got questions? I'll help answer them. You got deck lists? Let's review them. Let's look at them, and I'll help you take it to a competitive level. I'll put you to the test. Why aren't we running this card? And and especially when you're building a new deck, you got to see if you can take any parallels that you get from other archetypes. For example, even as a Merfolk player, I try to take as much as I can away from other tribal decks, like in my same category, like spirits, like for example, humans. I notice humans is so strong because they are so mana efficient. They have got 12 1-drops. How can I make more 1-drops for my deck to flow more in a similar sense as the humans deck does? And then I could look at spirits. What are all their answers that match up with the threats of the metagame? Do I have anything similar in my category of deck that can address the same problems? That's what I look at. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. That deserves a nice, delicious sip of coffee. And continue with the questions. Good morning, Siege Sensei. Let's do this. Everyone's got their coffee. Lord Magicus flexing the new emotes. The beautiful emote. I love the Thug Bunny emote. It's like my favorite damn thing. Wonderful emotes. Good morning, Mr. Blue. Yeah, good morning, Tech Guy. Glad to catch a stream in person. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. Nick flexing the emotes. But the Tech Guy actually did get a notification. Good morning, Betamax. Nikachu, what are you playing today? We're playing more Simic Merfolk because I still want to play Simic Merfolk. I don't know if it's worth it because I'm putting like 4 Weather the Storm just for burn. It's working. It's working. But overall, is it working? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. I'm still going to force it for a little while. JK Torborg. Hey, I came up with a really fun deck idea, submitted it to Your Deck Live with Jim Davis, but I've been playing it a ton, centered around the interaction between Adventures and Spell Shift into Primal Surge. Take a look if interested. Let's go check out your list. Sultai Adventure Shift. All right, at least this is Modern. So we got Birds of Paradise. Underrated card in Modern, in my opinion. I'm surprised we don't see more Birds of Paradise. Hornet Nest. Is this deck playing Blasphemous Act? Is that what we're doing here? I guess not. We do not have... Do we have the mana base for it? No. This is... Is it Sultai? What color combinations? We got Breeding Pool, Forest, Island. Yeah, it's Sultai. All right, gotcha. So Brazen Borrower for bouncing things. Hornet Nest, great thing on defense. Will probably give fits to Eldrazi-tron. Hypnotic Sprite. This is an underrated card. This is a very underrated card in Modern, I think. I keep forgetting this card exists. I forget. I got to put this in my Commander deck. For 2 mana, you still have a 2/1 creature, but you can counter stuff for 3 mana or less. That is, and it only costs a blue and 2 generic. So especially if your deck has a lot of instant speed stuff, this thing's pretty strong. A little bit poor on the draw, like in my play testing, but still an underrated card in Modern. Like a lot of stuff is 3 mana anyway. Like you can counter Uro with this, for example. Oh, like Love Struck Beast, very strong card for 3 mana, and I believe no, you cannot attack with it with Birds of Paradise. You can ramp it in turn 2, but that's about it. Murderous Rider, Nimble Obstructionist, love this card. Interacts with a ton of the metagame. A Stifle effect is very strong right now in Modern. The problem is 3 mana is a lot, but it's fair. I think it's fair with on Nimble Obstructionist. It's just not enough decks can play something like this. Rosethorn Acolyte. Hold on, what does this do? Add 1 mana of any color. That's the sorcery. So it basically fixes mana. Oh, and it's like basically a ramp thing for 3 mana. But why do we need this? So Teferi, Mage of Zalafir, love this card. Teferi basically, it's the old-fashioned Teferi basically. Before Teferi became a Planeswalker and had the same effect. Thassa's Oracle. So do you have a way of like sifting through your entire deck? Is that what's going on here? I don't see the combo exactly. Because you've got... Okay, Wishclaw Talisman. Remove a Wishclaw, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Sorcery, Primal Surge. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. Spell Shift. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals an instant or sorcery card. That player may play that card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she shuffles his or her library. What happens to the revealed cards? Then he or she shuffles his or her library. It's a bit weird. This has to be templated a bit differently now. I guess the revealed cards just get shuffled. Okay, how do you win the game? Okay, that's my question. Here's my question. How do we win the game with this deck? I don't get it. I don't get it. So for anyone that knows... Okay, this description is way longer than it needs to be, but give the cards and purposes section a read if you should be able to pilot this deck. I call this deck Adventure Shift. It plays like a mid-range value deck with a built-in combo of any adventure card plus Spell Shift, which digs for and casts Primal Surge for free. This dumps the entire library onto the battlefield, winning the game on the spot via more than one... Aha! So you Spell Shift into an adventure, but you need to counter an instant or sorcery? Its controller reveals reveals cards on the top of his or her library until he or she reveals an instant or sorcery card. That player may play that card without paying its mana cost. Adventures are instants and sorceries. Okay, so you counter your own card. So you play your own spell, counter it, but none of them are considered instant or sorceries while in the deck. So you have a bunch of instants and sorceries in the deck, but you just dig through all of them. So you need about 6 mana for this, which in that case, you now get to Primal Surge. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battle. Exile the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it onto the battlefield. Whole deck is permanent. If you do, repeat this process. Okay, I got it. You're all in combo deck. I got it. I got it. So why do we need 2 Jace the Mind Sculptors? What's the point of this? Does that actually matter? Is that, or like, do we need a second one? So here's my recommendation. We should probably be maybe a little bit more all in on this combo. Oh, how do we do that? How do we have counter spells in this deck to protect our combo? Is that possible? I mean, okay, well, I'll tell you what I love about this deck. You can just win with creatures. Like, you don't need to combo off. You can just win with the damn creature. So you got that angle, and then you got this angle out of nowhere where you just win the game on the spot with with what's it called? Spell shift. But how do you find the spell shift? This is like a single copy, right? Because you can't have more than one of them. Otherwise, you're going to reveal another spell shift in your deck. Oh, but then that's what you got the Wish Claw Talisman for. Search your library for a card. So you search for the spell shift. Okay, I got it. How do we... So do we have Glen Elendra in this deck? We don't have Glen Elendra. Glen Elendra is expensive. Glen Elendra is expensive. Like, I want some sort of... Do you know what? Okay, I don't have any great recommendations at the moment. I don't know what the dead cards are. I mean, it could be Vendilion Click, could be the second Jace the Mind Sculptor, could be all this Jace the Mind Sculptors. But overall, this thing looks okay. Is Hornet Nest necessary? I would love this deck to be more aggro to put the pressure on the opponent. And then if things go bad, or if the opponent taps out, you can you combo off. I would like to be way more proactive on the aggro plan. You can put a 5/5 creature into play on turn 2 for crying out loud. I think there is a lot more potential in this deck. I think you should focus much more on the aggro. You definitely have to take out the Hornet's Nest. Maybe 3 Brazen Borrower is fine. I know from experience a 4th one is like really, really clunky. What else do you got? Murderous Rider is fine. Nimble Obstructionist is fine. Teferi, I don't know about. I mean, you might as well have maybe, what's it called? Okay, I understand. So I get it. If Teferi's on the battlefield, but you could have like, I know you're not playing much white at all, but you could, like, Teferi Time Raveler does a better job, I think, than Teferi Mage of Zalafir. So this is the, but you could also play Teferi, I think, Time Raveler as well. I don't know if that's going to stress your mana base enough, because I know you're already a 3-color deck. This could be, for example, is this necessary? You want this for Swamp? There's not much. Well, there is some black. Ooh, that is brutal. And you need the black for... This is a very interesting deck. This is a very interesting deck. You need the black for the Wish Claw Talisman. Otherwise, you have like no way of searching your deck for a card. I hope this is the best way of doing this. If not, then I would most definitely cut the black. But I'm assuming it is. So my recommendation, you have to go more aggro so that you have this plan to force pressure on your opponent, and then when they tap out, boom, you like go for the combo. So I would definitely take out Hornet's Nest. This is not a proactive card. It's dirtling around. Maybe more Hypnotic Sprites. I don't mind this card at all. You can play a bit of a control game, attrition out your opponents. What else could we add to this thing? I guess you need this for I guess you need this thing for, and it's cheap to counter. Like at 5 mana, you can play Seasonal Ritual. But this card seems pretty crappy to me. I would rather have something else, because you don't need to be all in on the combo. You can play. I think you can play a reasonable deck to like attack your opponent, and then if things go wrong, then you combo off. Jace the Mind Sculptor honestly is just like a pretty bad card these days. It's just not very good at all. Maybe in this deck it's fine. You have a reasonable number of fetch lands and stuff like that. But I would be very suspect of Jace. I don't know all the cards that have adventures, but I might be suspect of Rosethorn Acolyte, and I'm definitely suspect of Hornet's Nest. Let's try to make a more lean aggro deck, and I think that would be a really nice combination with the Spell Shift after you get it with the Wish Claw Talisman. But, well, you don't want Mystical Tutor in Modern, because that doesn't combo well with the Spell Shift. Spell Shift will reveal that card and screw over your combo. So that's the point of the deck being adventures, is you got the instants and sorceries in your deck, but they're going to get ignored by spell shift when this thing resolves, which is the neat thing. But anyway, so the point is, have a proactive beatdown plan. If that plan don't work, then, or as your opponent uses up resources, counter spells and stuff to deal with your beatdown plan, that is when you go for your combo. Or if your opponent even taps out, that's when you go for your combo. Because you will, the thing is, when you've got a proactive like game A plan of attacking your opponent, that will always get your opponent to tap out. They'll always get them to tap mana to interact, to play Supreme Verdict, and then you untap and and then you combo off. I just wish there was like a better way of I just wish there was a better way of grabbing the spell shift without Wishclaw Talisman. Is there any other way of doing this? Like, is there a planeswalker that can grab this from the sideboard or something? Is there a wish that we can do this? Fae of Wishes, but it's too slow. But this is pretty bad too. I mean, what is this? This is literally 3 mana, and then you give the card to your opponent, which can find an answer to you, right? Because they can activate it and put it into their hand. I mean, I guess you can. I guess you give it to them tapped or whatever. Anyway, interesting deck. Thanks for sharing. It's a pretty cool deck. Nice deck. I think I think it definitely is some room to explore such an archetype. All right, so where did I leave off? Thank you very much, everyone who's actually joining me today. This is we have already entering some wonderful discussions, some very interesting deck lists. And who knows, you know what? When you showcase lists like this, you can inspire other people to like, hey, do you know what? That combo is really good, but I wouldn't take it that direction. I would play these cards instead. And maybe you can, and you know what? It puts certain decks like, in the discussion where other people might take the idea and innovate it to a point where it becomes a winning strategy. So you know what? That's I'm very excited about decks like that. I'm actually under the strong opinion that there are a lot of hidden archetypes in Modern that just have never been explored, partially because it's very expensive. Creativity is expensive. I'm not going to lie. If you don't have an account that can borrow cards, and the cards are expensive, it's very expensive to experiment. Then you're like dumping money on leagues, trying things out, and you spend quite a bit of money and time before you get it right. And sometimes people will give up before it gets right. But anyway, it's tough to experiment. So it's good that we get these ideas in the public, and hopefully someone can take it from there. Lord Magicus says, what do you think will happen with historic anthology cards when Pioneer makes its way to Arena? It's going to exist. We're going to still have Historic. Historic is going to be Legacy on Arena. That's what it's going to be. And I think the real question is what is going to happen to historic cards when Legacy takes over. So it's possible that somewhere... in my mind, there's not going to be a Legacy on Arena. I don't think they're going to take the time to program every single card that ever existed in Magic the Gathering. But what they're going to do is just program the cards that matter. So like maybe in what's it called? Fallen Empires, maybe there's only 3 cards that really matter in that entire set. So instead of wasting their time programming all of them, they're going to say, you know what, screw all these cards. Let's just make the 3 that see any competitive play at all. And that's their fastest way of creating legacy on MTG Arena. And that's what I think Historic is going to be in the super long run. 5 years from now, we'll have something that looks and feels like Legacy on MTG Arena, but is not Legacy, not technically Legacy, because we don't have all the cards, but they're just historic anthologies legal. That's the way I look at that's how I look at the future of the long-term future of historic anthologies. But we are definitely going to keep seeing them, because I think they're going to try to replicate a legacy type environment in the long run. As they keep pushing the power level, they'll keep adding more of those powerful cards until we see something like that. Good morning, Fish Fam. Good morning, Casual GC. And Korean Hero, do you think Mutate mechanic will have a place in Modern? No. And basically the reason for it is because there's too much removal. It's such a removal heavy format that I think like the bar, like our only hope is Sea Dash or Octopus, because I think the card does quite a bit on its own, and it's still tough to say like there's like a really good meta for this card. Like even against the snow control decks, it can just get blocked by Ice Fang Quaddle or whatever, even though it's even though we have the advantage of playing it at flash speed. So I think it's going to be tough for the Mutate to actually take over in Modern. If there was the clause that a mutated creature, if it died, the mutated creature would fall off and stay on the battlefield, I think Mutate would be a mechanic that we'd see much more often in Modern. But right now, the 2-for-1 penalty is way too high, so I don't think it sees any play. Hello, Nikachu made it to Diamond with historic blue-black Merfolk. Interesting. Thank you all. Thank you for all the deck and gameplay tips. You're welcome. Monster CC, thoughts on Modern after M21? Any new archetypes? Yeah, Goblins. We got a Goblins archetype. And that's so far that I've seen. I haven't seen anything else out of the ordinary. If anything, like what people should be talking about is how fair Modern is right now. Like Modern has gone back to normal. I told you, people. They're gonna do something about the companions. They address the companions. Now Modern is normal. It's totally fair. It's totally fun. You want to get into Modern? Right now is a good time. If Modern goes to hell, which it will in the future, I can guarantee it. You can take a time out. Just wait for it to get fixed. So if you are waiting for Modern to get fixed, it's fixed right now. Get back into Modern. It's great. It's a great time to play. Flexing the new emotes. Beautiful new emotes. Shariski, are you still playing Spirits and Pioneer? I am still playing Spirits and Pioneer, but I'm just not playing Pioneer right now. It has not been my main focus. Yes, the emotes have arrived. We got more emotes. Emotes are here. Beautiful emotes. Will your brother be joining you on the stream? Yes, for gameplay, yes. My brother will be joining me in the gameplay stream. By the way, we do gameplay Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Guess what today is? It is today. Today is Monday. So we are going to have gameplay today, so I hope to see you there. Hope to see you there for the gameplay. We're going to play some Simic Merfolk as usual. Good morning, Niels Nielsen. Betamax says, since we're looking at deck lists, played this last night to a 4-1 finish at my local game store. It ran really well, but I struggled with the decision on what to do in my red heavy, snow heavy meta. I knew I wanted 5 main deck counters, but that left me choosing between having 3 Master of Waves or 4 Silvergill. I chose the former, but want to know what you would have done. I will let you know what I would have done. All right, so where are we here? Gonna look for your Betamax. Gonna look for your link. No, this is not a link. This is your link. Gonna get rid of this thing. It's taken over. Okay, mono blue Merfolk. So you're looking for something to make room for a snow heavy metagame. We got your okay. So these are core cards. Trickster's a core card. If you have a snow control metagame, I'd probably have Silvergill Adept. I think I think some versions of Snow will play Blood Moon, and being able to play a creature for 1 blue mana is useful. Not to mention Silvergill Adept is card advantage, so I'd actually squeeze in a 4th one in here. Mare Regery is great. Master of Waves is also, of course, great. But you can put the Master of Waves in the sideboard. I don't think that's going to be too bad. If you're snow heavy, maybe you don't need the Damping Matrix. Ashiok is fine. Spreading Seas, Deprive, Damping Sphere, Relic. I see your situation. Well, okay, some potential cuts, either the Chalice of the Void or the Damping Matrix, and you don't need to have all Master of Waves in the main deck. You can have one in the sideboard. I think that is perfectly reasonable. You can also, okay, I'm not in love with Spreading Seas overall, and it's not even going to do anything in your snow control metagame. So you could like remove 1 Spreading Seas, probably put in a Silvergill Adept, and I think 3 Spreading Seas is very reasonable right now. I hate flooding on Spreading Seas today. It does not, like even if you're up against the snow control deck, like it's still a snow permanent. That snow part didn't go away, so all their snow stuff still works. Yeah, so I'm not high on Spreading Seas right now, so I think 3 is enough. You can have 1 in the sideboard, 2 in the main deck. I would probably add the Silvergill Adept here. And you said you wanted 1 more Master, 3 Master Waves or still 4. I would get the 4th Silvergill Adept. I would get another Master of Waves. You can cut either a Matrix or one of the Chalice of the Voids. I think cutting a Chalice is fine-ish, because you have a lot of counterspells as it is. 2 Deprive. It's a nice thing having a lot of counterspells. So you got like you're going overboard with the, not, I wouldn't say overboard. I mean, counters are good for certain situations, but I think you can sacrifice 1 Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void would be fine against burn, but it would be really good to have that Master of Waves. You could put a Master of Waves in place of that and get rid of 1 Spreading Seas and add your Silvergill Adept. Those would be my recommendations. So thanks for asking, Betamax, and congrats on your 4-1. Congrats on your 4-1. When do you like to play Merfolk and Legacy? Because I'm just not playing Legacy right now. I would love to play Merfolk and Legacy. I sort of want to be focused on something. Maybe there will be a week that we play. Okay, I'll tell you my master plan here. I need to get to partner on Twitch. That means I need to average like 75 people a stream. Now, to do that, my plan is to do it with Modern. So I think we're going to have a lot of Modern content in the coming streams so that I can get a viewership large enough so I can get the partner. And then after that, I don't care what the hell I do. I'll do anything. Because it all changes once you get to partner. I'm not a partner. Not of Twitch, anyhow. Clever boy. I'm struggling to go past 3-2 in Modern Leagues since after going 3-0 or 2-1, I get either a Titan or Uro deck. Is there anything I should change from this stock list? Sure. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Clever boy. I don't think the Uro decks are impossible. I mean, they're tough. They got a lot of card advantage, but not impossible. So what do we got here? We've got... Oh, your burn deck. Gotcha. Okay, Luris is fine. I mean, it's still pretty close to free. Goblin Guide, Swift Spear, Eidolon of the Great Revel, Lava Spike. So pretty standard stuff so far. 2 Skull Cracks, which are going to be really important against those decks. Riftbolt, Skewer the Critics. And you've got Fiery Islet for Sunbaked Canyon. So this is all standard things. Relic, Core Firewalker. So one thing I could recommend, I don't know if this is what Burn wants, but well, I think you're playing a pretty stock list. So let's say you want a little bit more of an advantage against. Is there really anything else I can recommend? I'm almost guaranteed that the issue. But I watched a Burn player play against. I wouldn't say I watched a Burn player. I watched a Control player. And I saw from the Burn side, they were just playing into all the counter spells. So what I would recommend is maybe... Okay, I'm going to give you some tips and strategies that you should take against control decks. Let me know if these are new things for you that you should be considering. Now, for sure, you got to want to bring in the Skull Cracks and the Rest in Pieces. I think shutting off the graveyard is useful for you. I think it is. I think the only cards I might bring in are like Skull Crack. You could bring in Searing Blood too, just so that there's more things to kill, like Ice Fang Quaddle when they try to block. Same thing with Snapcaster Mage, because they're going to try to block. They're going to try to block your crap. So here's the deal. You got to exercise a lot of aggro very early on in the game, but after that, you got to slow down big time. When they have open mana, do not play in their open mana. Oh, that's actually a pretty good. Tuckstep says pre-board against what you have issues with. It's not unreasonable to have, for example, 4 Skullcrack in the main, because for sure you want to beat Uro, right? You can't let Uro gain life. So and this is a reasonable card to have, I think, in the main deck. So that card is good. So you could take out maybe like a Rift Bolt or something like or even a Searing Blaze, because that is Searing Blaze even good right now? I mean, okay, it killed no. I think it kills enough stuff. But I mean, obviously, but maybe you could cut 2 Searing Blazes for the 2 Skull Cracks. So here's the thing: I saw a Burn player just play horrendously against a control deck. This control player has like 7 cards in hand, 4 open mana, so a little choked on mana. Plays the Burn spell into the open mana. Guess what happened? It got countered. Oh, what do you know? It got countered. Not only that, they played their burn spells into the open mana, and then after they were tapped out enough, the control player untapped and played an Uro, because they don't have to fear Skullcrack anymore. So what I would recommend is you have to be like really aggressive very early on in the game, but when your opponent has open mana, pass the turn. Keep passing the turn. Don't do anything. Don't play into their counter spells. Don't play and try not to tap out too much unless you're killing the opponent, because your opponent is bringing in timely reinforcements. They have Uro. You need Skullcrack up for stuff like that, and it's clunky. It's clunky stuff. It's not so easy for them to have like 5 mana up for you. And the moment they tap out, they could end up dying. You could end up like striking with all your creatures, and then they're dead. So what I would recommend to do, and you also want to play at much at instant speed as possible. So cards like Rift Bolt are candidates to take out, I would guess, or maybe Skewer the Critics. That one's like even more clunky and difficult to use. But the point is, I want you to play more at instant. I hope that you're playing more at instant speed, so that when they tap out, then you unleash the fury. And that's one part of the burn game that I think is significantly lacking. I should say every single archetype, all of them. Let's have a discussion about strategy and style. Burn, for the most part, is an aggro deck. You want to empty your clip, attack them as quickly as possible. But you need to know when to slow down, play like a control deck. You need to know when to play like a tempo deck. Every archetype needs to do this. A control deck at some point needs to learn how to be an aggro deck against certain archetypes, because they know that their answers don't interact very well with their opponent, and that the best chance of winning is slam Snapcaster Mage on the battlefield turn 2 and attack as quickly as possible to put the opponent's life total as low as possible. Burn players need to learn how to take a slower pace of action when in certain circumstances, and a really good example is definitely control. When they have open mana, I would not touch anything. I had a lot of games with Day 2 Dryden where we were playing the burn deck together, and he was like, "Do you want? I want to play. I want to play. How do we put it? He wanted to exhaust his opponent's counter spells by playing his burn spells, and I said, but that doesn't do anything. You're gonna get your burn spell countered. Then your opponent is gonna untap, and then they're gonna have more counter spells up, and they have more cards than you. But you can beat the counter spells if you can get them to tap out, and that puts a lot of pressure on a control deck. They will know if they tap out to play Uro and you play Skullcrack, and then you untap and deal 12 damage to them. That's devastating. And they're still taking some damage, mind you, from like shock lands and fetch lands, so they're in a precarious spot. Be patient. I would say be patient. So like, so we have some stuff about Rift Bolt. Rift Bolt versus control. It lets you use mana while you deny the opponent of countering something, or you force them to tap out on their turn. So it's like a free way of doing that. It's by suspending. I'm not proficient enough with burn to know if Rift Bolt is the best or not. I imagine it's fine, because you suspend it on your turn and you force your opponent to deal with it on their turn. So anyway, I hope that was valuable. I wish we had Day 2 Dryden here to tell us what are the best ways to deal with them. I imagine some cards I don't want to bring in too much graveyard hate, because it's useful but not mandatory. I imagine Searing Blood is good, because you are going to be faced with small creatures on the battlefield trying to block, and being able to kill them while dealing a pretty good chunk of damage is pretty nice. It's basically like it is a 2-for-1, and Skullcrack has to be good. So maybe in Smash to Smash to Smithereens, is there enough targets? I don't know about this one. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Hope that was valuable. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, because I in my opinion, from watching burn players, their biggest mistake is not enough patience. They were like, let's hope this resolves. Let's hope this works. Let's hope this works. Whereas, if the opponent's missing land drops, you can wait to pile up your hand to 7 cards and then unleash them all at once. And the control deck cannot deal with all of them. They just can't. They just can't. Anyway, so those are my recommendations. To the best of my knowledge. Because you have a stock deck. And I will say, like, Burn is probably not doing super great because of this. Because of, like, the Uro control decks. And it's probably the reason why, Burn is not exactly on tippy top. But still, I think you should have enough game. And I think if Burn players play better, they could increase their win percentage. But even then, you still might be fighting for like 50%. They've got a lot of life gain post board. They've got a lot of counter spells. A lot of their stuff interacts very well with the Burn deck. They have enough. So, like, the onus is on you to try to, like, even the odds. I don't know if there's an advantage to be gained. But some things that could be done, probably Skullcrack in the main. And that's about it. That's the best I can think of. Anyway, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. All right, let's get through. We had so many discussions. Oh, hold on. Pretty sure I got some new subscribers. Okay, hold on, let me go through all these questions, or let me look for the questions. Hello, Willie Hall. I saw this like 40 minutes ago, so I must be super behind. Is Frilled Mystic too slow? It's okay. I mean, if you're talking about modern, yes. If you're talking about historic, it's fine, but could be better. Just looking through the questions right now. A lot of discussion. That's great. I'm glad we have like a ton of discussion today, this morning. It's beautiful. We have beautiful discussion. Wonderful questions. Wonderful deck lists. Loving it. Ray727, thanks for the rug feedback. The reason for no Uro is the sort of non-bow with frantic inventory, and the whole deck is flash/instant speed. My other deck choice is a Bant Flash deck. No sideboard yet. Curious what you think. May not have time for the other deck list, but I would say, as I'm trying to get to other people, but I would say, even though your deck is mostly at flash or instant speed, I would still play Uro. It's just way too good to like pass up. It's just way too good. Oh, this is for questioning for someone else. What do you think of elves in the current meta? Not good shape. Not in good shape. Sorry about that, but elves is not in good shape. They're like Plague Engineer is a beating. I think the deck just needs to take a different angle. Like the elves, the reason we don't see elves today is because they don't want to change. They want to play that sort of combo-oriented version. So the deck has to change by like 8 cards to take it. It can still be combo-oriented, or sorry, it can have a combo kill attached to it, but maybe it should be a little bit more aggro. And maybe less, I don't know, less mana efficient. I don't know what's the deal, but needs another direction. Good morning, Drakenar. Matt Maddox says, would you be willing to try a couple sideboard chokes in Simic Merfolk? Just 1 or 2 versus the Mystic Sanctuary and Blue Moon decks. So, yeah, I think it's reasonable. I was looking at all the islands in my deck. I only have 6. It wouldn't be that bad. I mean, we have people like, here's Tuxtev. Tuxtev plays back to basics in Legacy when it shuts down like 3/4 of his mana base. So, or sorry, nah, that's not true. That's like, it's shutting down how much? Maybe close to half the mana base. Whereas this only shuts down like 1/3. So I think choke is actually reasonable. I made a tweet about it. I think it's reasonable in today's metagame. But I wouldn't bring it in for Blue Moon, just because I think we're doing pretty well against Blue Moon. And also it's a bit of a non-bow. It's a green card, which means we need to have like breeding pool mana, but that will get shut off by Blood Moon. So you don't want to bring in cards that is going to be hard. Let's just say I'm walking into Blood Moon when I side in cards like that. The way I beat Blood Moon is I take out my green cards so that when they bring in Blood Moon, I have the maximum number of blue cards that I can beat them with, because I just need to beat them with some creatures and counter spells. That's it. That's how I beat Blue Moon. Not too hard. But against the Uro decks, the snow control decks, very strong. I think it's really good. Oh, Merkovich, Fedor, just subscribe. Thank you very much. Merkovich, Fedor. Where is my beautiful thank you? Thank you. I made this just for one. What am I pointing? Okay, I'm pointing here. I made this just for the subscribers. Thank you very much for your subscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Of course, if you want to support the channel or support the show, you can always make a subscription if you find this valuable, if you find this great part of your morning routine. Also, you can subscribe on Patreon at patreon.com/NikachuMTG. That beautiful subscription calls for a sip of my coffee. And thanks to all current subscribers on Twitch. Mr. Wians asks, can Mono Blue Merfolk play Vendilion Click in either a 2-2 split with Biomancer, more flyers for evasion? You know, I made the top 8 of a Grand Prix once, and guess what I played? I played 2 Vendilion Click because it was really good at versus Ad Nauseam, and I thought it was reasonably good against any other deck because it was at flash speed. So yes, you can play Vendilion Click in Merfolk. It's very good. You can target yourself, get rid of like vials and useless extra garbage, and it's just a flash speed creature. Also plays around Plague Engineer when they name Merfolk. Excellent card. Clever Boy says, I can punish Uro by overloading, then I board in Relic and Skullcrack, cut 2 Searing Blaze, and 1 Skewer. Aha, so you're the burn player. Yes, that is a line. That is absolutely a line. Absolutely. Hopefully that works. Hopefully that works. Oh, YouTube brought me here. Good, great. The YouTube notifications are working. You know, I look too blue in the background. I'm going to change this to something else. There we go. This feels more warm now. Warm! That's how it's supposed to be in the morning. Nice and warm. Beautifully warm. Good morning, Dexter Johnson. Good morning. Better late than never, I suppose. Absolutely. No one's ever late. Everyone's here on time. Whenever you show up, you're on time. It's all good. Oh, this is a great point Nick points out. Riftbolt is a huge liability in modern versus modern control because Teferi kills it with his +1. So they just play. It's not even the +1. It's the static ability. So they just play Teferi. They pass the turn. And then, well, I guess what it is you plus... Well, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. You can't do anything at instant speed once it's on the battlefield, so it just destroys Riftbolt. So actually, Riftbolt should probably be the card that gets removed in this matchup. Teferi is just such a beating in this matchup. Really good point, Nick. I like the insight. See, to get the insight from the chat, it's like a mastermind of Magic players. Everyone has some experience to offer here. And I really like that point. So the best way to play around Teferi is to just go with like Skewer the Critics and maybe something like that. Probably siding out the... Well, okay, mind you, you don't need to suspend it, but it's going to be really clunky otherwise. At least Skewer the Critics, you can cast it for 1 mana, whereas Riftbolt, you're going to have to pay 3. Or you just get it out really early before they get to their 3rd land drop, which guarantees they can't get Teferi out. So maybe there is a way of playing the card more intelligently post-board with Teferi in mind. Always got to think about those things. Got to think about everything. Kyoka 620. Hey Nikachu, is there any decks like Prowess in Modern? I want a second deck so I'm not known as the mono red player in my play group and elves are benched. Like Prowess in Modern? Infect. I think Infect would be the absolute closest thing to mono red Prowess, and very similar playstyle. I think very similar. A little bit less all in. You got to be a little bit more patient because you need to protect your Infect creatures. But I think they're similar enough that you would enjoy Infect. And there's no red. It's Simic, so enjoy. And you're gonna get some other free. And I would say it is a little bit better in a way than mono red because your creatures are less likely to die because you have more protection for them, and you'll have more game against removal spells. Whereas with mono red prowess, as you know, if they kill your creatures, your deck really sucks. Then you start like playing crash through for no value. So you might even end up liking Infect more. The only problem with Infect is it's super hard shut down by Chalice of the Void, whereas, you know, with mono red prowess, you can like board into more 2-drops and 3-drops and also a Braid, so you have more game against Chalice of the Void. But I'm still in the opinion that Infect can adjust their deck to be not so all in. Like, you know, what happened to like Become Immense? Like, that was a good card. That gets around Chalice of the Void, and they don't play it anymore. Anyway. Branchwalker just climbed to Platinum 3. Moving on up. Congratulations. First time here, Hawkeye. Thank you very much for showing up, Hawkeye. Looking for the questions in the sea of all the comments. Love the discussion. I mean, it's a good sign. If I'm having trouble looking for comments, that's always good. Hawkeye asks, I somehow started Paper Magic the Gathering with the modern format recently, and the deck I built is Eldrazi-tron. Do you have any suggestions where to find some deck guide? Yes. A matter of fact, I do. So here's a few things you could do. First off, you can look at my... Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Laplacian. What's it called? Laplacian Eldrazi deck guide. Okay, so here is the Eldrazi primer from Laplacian. He's like the Eldrazi-tron master. He's basically the guy that proved that this deck was like worth playing. I'm gonna put this in the comments for you to find, but also you might want to look up my Masters Monday series where I looked up Laplacian. So like look up Nikachu MTG Laplacian on YouTube, and I've had discussions with him about Eldrazi-tron. I would definitely start there, and hopefully that brings you up to speed really, really quickly. And I'm sure on his Patreon, he has a Patreon. I think there's Eldrazi content. You might want to ask him on Twitter, but like when he doesn't play Eldrazi-tron right now, but this is a pretty good place to start because he was really deep into this deck at the time. So good luck with Eldrazi-tron. Very strong, solid deck. Title Warrior were to get reprinted, would it be playable in Modern Merfolk? Yes. Yes, it would. I'd probably play it over, like, what's it called? Spreading Seas. Oh, that's cool. How do you do the back and forth thing with the emotes? People can add things to my emotes. It's very creative what can happen here. Yeah, Nikachu Thug Life. For Anonymous for something, can't pronounce it. Hey Nikachu, just wanted to say you are awesome. I know. Your videos helped me get into Modern, though I may not play Fish anymore. I will always follow your content. You're welcome. Thank you very much. I know not everyone stays with Fish, but they stay with Modern. I'm keeping Modern alive. Good stuff. Good stuff. Raise 727. I'm curious, as paper events are dwindling and large events like GPs are seeing huge declines in players, arguments like tournament logistics become less relevant. What do you think of Sensei's Divining Top coming off the banned list? I think it's still relevant. Like, we're gonna still see a lot of paper events in the future. It's just largely declining in the short run, but in the long run, we're still gonna see a lot of paper events. I predict that, like, by the way, okay, let's talk about the paper events. They're not declining at all. I think that's a misconception. The GP attendance is declining, but side events attendance is skyrocketing. I've been, like, for example, we had the there is an event somewhere in New York, I think, where the attendance was sold out. Like, people were playing outside, they didn't have the capacity. And the thing is, like, people are showing up to these events. they're just not playing in the Grand Prix anymore. They're just finding it's a waste of money. People are coming to the realization, okay, I can pay $80 for the Grand Prix, feel miserable if I don't make day 2, make no money, no prizes whatsoever, or I can play in the side event for $20. In fact, I could play in 4 side events for the price of 1 Grand Prix if I get like the, what is it, the value badges, the like the week, there's like these what's it called? Oh, I can't remember. They give you these like value packs that you can buy. You get like a bunch of tournament entry fees for like around $80-ish, $85, and you get promos, you get extra goodies in the Grand Prix events. You get it's great. And you have the chance of winning more boxes. So people are wising up that they want to play the side events instead. So actually, like Magic Fest attendance, I think, is going up. It's just that GP attendance is going down. And it's going down even further if the format sucks. So I don't think that the attendance is so bad. And therefore, at a competitive level, Sensei's Divining Top is still a problem. Like it's still an overall problem in like a paper environment. So I don't see Sensei's Divining Top coming off the ban list. It just slows the games down way too much. But really good, good question to like ask, because I think a lot of people assume like GP attendance going down equals Magic dying, which actually is not entirely true, because the Magic Fest attendance is going up. And if anyone who's attending these Magic Fests, they can see like the side events are exploding. The side events are huge now, very, very big. In case I missed it, what are your thoughts on Chandra's Incinerator? So my thoughts on Chandra's, I actually completely underrated this card. We don't see this card yet, but I'm assuming it's on its way. So here's Chandra's Incinerator. Pretty easy to activate. Well, it hasn't proven itself. I'll give it that. But I completely underestimated this card, because once it's in play, every spell that a player plays is like a Searing Blood or Searing Blaze. That sucks. That really sucks for Merfolk, and I have nothing I can do about this thing. Like, I guess the best I can do is in response to a burn spell, I don't know, Trickster it. That's about it. So this thing looks like a real beating for a deck like mine. And it's so big. It's like, okay, so it gets out of range of Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, everything. I really have no idea what deck can deal with this, but I don't see it seeing play yet. So I don't know exactly what's the problem with this card, or maybe it's just too new. Maybe people just don't have access to the copies, but I think the card is very powerful. I downplayed it too much when I first saw it. Then when I found out, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker. Oh, that's great. So it just cooks all my creatures. That's terrible. Evil. Just evil. Will you ever attend a Grand Prix if Calgary holds it again? Yes, I would. It's within Canada. Tuxdev is like the Fnatic package. That's right. You buy those Fnatic packages. The Fnatic packages are selling like hotcakes. $100 for 3 normal entries and 2 double up entries. And you can walk away with a bunch of boxes and other boosters. So it's really good stuff. Well, anyway, that's all the time I have today. So thanks to everyone who showed up. And I guess we have to do the tradition of raiding someone. That's what we do on Twitch before we call it a day. So let's look for someone to raid. I got to take my lunch break before we get into some awesome magic. Some awesome magic later today. So what am I looking for? Let's look for Magic the Gathering. Unfortunately, no one else does like a talk show like I do it. I'm like a unusual talk show person. Oh, let's send it to the Will Hall EXP. He deserves some love. Loves playing Modern, playing Death Shadow right now. We're gonna go hang out with the Willie Hall. Let's raid the Will Hall EXP. Show him all the beautiful bunny emotes that you have. It's gonna be beautiful and wonderful. And he helped me play 2X Modern. The guy's a Modern enthusiast, and also he hates Tron. Says, fuck Tron. That's basically the way he lives life. Screw Tron. We don't need Tron in this format. Anyway, so everyone, thank you very much to everyone who came out, joined me today to enjoy a cup of coffee. We had some great discussions. Hope you learned something. Hey, if you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to give a like. And I'll see you next time. Take care and bye-bye.